the stage of later adulthood emerges, one could ask, what are the life that awaits ahead of them? Ano nga ba? Let's find out. I am Princess Ayessa, Manampan, your reporter for today. And a little overview about later adulthood is that in this stage, we consider the challenges, changes, and new avenues for development in later life. The integrating theme of later adulthood is the search for personal meaning. There are three stages of life, as they say. The first stage of life is what they call the period of construction and learning. It is the first 30 years of life, where many avenues are open in building our skills and knowledge to engage in later adulthood. The second period of life is the period of enactment, where the commitments that are established during the first stage of life, kasi it is being translated into roles and relationship. In the second period of life, the interactions of work, family, and the demands of the society are the integrating factors that are present. The third stage of life, where later adulthood belong, is what they call the period of reinvention. It is the stage of life that brings a gradual release from the daily demands of work and family, and depending on one's health and resources, provides an opportunity to invent a new life structure. The reason why it is called reinvention and a theme as the searching for personal meaning, because probably during this stage you're gradually releasing na from your roles as a mother, a parent, a worker, kasi during this stage siguro probably you're retired na, so we're given a chance to find another way or provide another structure for your life. Kaya siya tinawag na reinvention. In this stage, aging is an undesirable process associated with accumulated deficits and decline. Diba, there are a lot of misconceptions na if matanda ka na, there is no life ahead of you. Or like, if matanda ka na, wala ka nang magagawa. Like, your physical health is deteriorated na. But no, it's not like that. Because this chapter, it highlights the continuous growth of an individual through coping and adaptation. Like, during old age, you can adjust, you can cope, you can adopt in a new society to live your life and to have another chance to give meaning to your life. Moving on to the developmental task of later adulthood, there are four existing developmental tasks, which are accepting one's life and achieving a sense of life satisfaction, promoting intellectual vigor, redirecting energy to new roles and activities, and developing a point of view about death. This team suggested new barriers to adaptation as well as new opportunities. As more structured roles of parent and workers become less demanding, a person has to find new sources of personal meaning and a new pattern of daily life. Moving on to the first developmental task of later adulthood, which is accepting one's life. It talks about the significant challenges of aging, and it is important to learn how to accumulate reality of one's life and at the same time formulate the visions of new phase of later adulthood. To accept one's life, one must be able to incorporate past failures, crises, and disappointments into one's self-image without being overburdened by this inadequacy. One should be able to as well take pride of the accomplishments and achievements that one has acquired all throughout their life. Life goals and life satisfaction. Goals are characterized as linked to daily actions related to desired states in the present or the future. Life goals has three aspects, which is one, goal domain, goal orientation, and goal-related activities. Goal domain, for example, is job goals, income goals, family goals, stuff like that. Goal orientation naman, it talks about how are you gonna be able to achieve goal domain. Approach, your approach in achieving goal domain, like communal, agentic, as we can see in figure 13.1. Goal-related activities is your actions, like coping, stuff like that. So to help you establish your life goals, you need the help of the SOC model. SOC model conceptualizes how older adults establish a satisfying approach in achieving important life goal in light of changing resources. So selection, optimization, and compensation. Selection stands for identifying the opportunities or domain. In your life goal, there are a lot of life goal as you have seen in figure 13.1. So magpili ka lang doon, for example, dalawang life goal, family goal, and your income goal. That's your focus. Optimization is allocating and refining resources in order to achieve higher levels of functioning in the selected domain. So, para mas mapagtibay mo pa yung yung domain, the domain that you selected, you need to optimize your resources for you to achieve better outcome for your goal domain. Compensation naman, on the other hand, is conditions to reduce resources, identifying strategies to counteract the loss and minimize the negative impact of functioning in selected domains. So since you're already in your older age, it is given that your physical health will as well deteriorate. So you need to compensate. Like for example, you chose health domain. You wanted to achieve or to have a stronger health. So since your physical health is hindi na ganon kalakas as compared when you were still younger, you cannot do vigorous exercises na. So you choose to do yoga, walking, ganon. You compensate. So, sa ano lang yung kaya ng katawan mo in your chosen domain. That's the SOC model. Now, moving back to the three aspects of life goals, if you have already achieved these three aspects of life goal, it would always, always lead to life satisfaction, as you can see in figure 13.1. Researchers have found that personality is one of the predictors of life satisfaction during later adulthood. Personality is typically viewed as a patterns of thoughts, feelings, and actions that are characteristics of a person across situations, provides ways of understanding individual differences in coping, goal orientation, and self-evaluation processes. A number of personality characteristics have linked with life satisfaction. This includes extroversion. It is the characteristics of sociability, vigor, sensation, and positive emotion. People who are outgoing and enjoy social interaction tend to report high level of satisfaction. Sabi dito that people who are extrovert or people who are outgoing are more likely to have higher levels of life satisfaction. Two, open to experience characteristics such as curiosity, imaginative, and enthusiasm about exploring different music, arts, travels, or point of view are also has the higher levels of life satisfaction. Neuroticism, on the other hand, is characterized by anxiety, hostility, and impulsiveness. So people daw, mga tao daw who has a personality of neuroticism are less likely to have life satisfaction. So they would develop low life satisfaction because they do not want to engage. They are not open with other people and they are not able to engage in a new society or in a community. They are more likely to see life as negative. They view life in a negative lens. So they are more likely to achieve higher life satisfaction. Usefulness and competence. This is a quality associated with informal volunteer work, higher levels of involvement with others, and a greater sense of purpose and structure in the use of time. Itong usefulness and competence it is characterized, like for example, you are a mentor, a teacher, ganon. You're sharing your knowledge with other people. That's why you interact more with other people, so you have a great sense of purpose. Optimism naman, on the other hand, is viewing the world in a positive light. So adults who have optimistic characters are more likely to feel less depressed, they feel more hopefulness, and as a result, they have a greater sense of well-being. a greater life satisfaction because they see the world in a lens of positivity. Another is sense of humor. Sense of humor is interconnected with optimism. Sense of humor has been found to predict life satisfaction. It helps to see events as amusing rather than embarrassing or demanding. Laughter is the best medicine. Yung mga tao na who laugh the most physically kasi bata sila tingnan. 'Di ba? Tama, tama. Sense of humor. People who has a sense of humor kasi are most likely to achieve life satisfaction. Number one, last personality is sense of control. Associated with life experiences such as engaging in physical activity, the opportunity to select one's leisure activities, or the ability to decide when to retire are all examples of factors that can improve an older adult's sense of control. If you have sense of control in your life, then your life satisfaction is high. So in conclusion, people who has a personality of usefulness, high sense of optimism, sense of humor, open to experience, extroverted, and has a high sense of control are most likely the people who will have higher level of life satisfaction. Life satisfaction, sense of well-being, and acceptance of one's life is associated with physical health. Of course, if you have a healthy body, then your life satisfaction will most likely be high. But if you are experiencing like arthritis, diabetes, yung most likely mga illnesses na na-experience ng mga older people kasi they would also be less satisfied with their life because of those illness. That's why it is very important that when you are still younger, you take care of yourself. You exercise, you walk, para pagdating ng panahon na hindi mo na masyado kaya, your body is still healthy. Your body is still able to do activities na makakabuti sa'yo. The relationship of health to life satisfaction is mediated by personality, resources, and personal growth. Diba, sabi nga, if you have a personality like a personality who has a sense of humor, then your life satisfaction will be high. If you have resources, your life satisfaction will be high. Resources like food, clothing, yung basic resources lang, and you will be satisfied. Erickson highlighted the importance of trust in accepting one's life because hindi talaga natin mapagkakaila that there is this type of older people who has this sense of pride within themselves that even though may sakit na sila or hindi na nila kaya kasi syempre given na matatanda na sila, they really need help. They don't want to have this support. So Erickson highlighted that in the trust, older people should establish trust, and as well as us children or younger people should establish this trust for our parents para if the time comes that they needed our help, then it would be easier for them to accept that help. The second developmental task in later adulthood is promoting intellectual rigor. Your capacity to promote and sustain intellectual rigor and the capacity to cope with challenges are one of the determinant of high life satisfaction. There are four problems that arises in identifying or evaluating intelligence in later adulthood. One must differentiate age differences and age changes. Ito yung, for example, there are older people who's born in 1970 and older people who's born in 1960. So of course, the people who's born in 1970 are most likely to have high intelligence because of the resources during their time. That's what's the age differences and age changes wanted to clarify. Second problem is the definition of abilities. So it varies on what abilities are most frequently used. Like for example, an elder English teacher is most likely has high intelligence in English as compared to math, as compared to an elder teacher who has been practicing or has been teaching mathematics during her time. So it's the definition of abilities. It varies. The intelligence varies within the ability that they could offer. The third is the relevance of task use to measure adult cognitive functioning. Fourth, factors associated with health are intertwined with the functions of older adults, although they are often not directly measured. One of the determinant of intellectual vigor is memory. It has three forms: sensory register, short-term memory, and long-term memory, and three functions: encoding, storing, and retrieval. When we say sensory register, it is the neurological processing activity that is required to take in visual, auditory, tactile, and olfactory information. Encoding is the attending to information, perceiving it, and catching the gist or drift of the information. Begins with the sensory register. Short-term memory is the working capacity to encode and store 5 to 9 bits of information in the span of a minute or two. Long-term memory is a complex networks of information concepts and schemes related by associations, knowledge, and use. It is the storehouse of a lifetime in the information. So remembering something for more than a few minutes involves moving the information from short-term to long-term memory, storing it in relation to other associated knowledge, and being able to recognize, retrieve, or restruct it at later time. The memory functions most relevant to understanding cognitive ability and aging have to do with the ability to transfer and store information from short-term to long-term memory and then retrieve it. Studies of memory focuses on different kinds of tasks, each with its own trajectory of growth and declines. We have three types of memory. One, semantic memory, focuses on basic knowledge such as recalling the meaning of words. And then episodic memory, focus on specific situation and data. This memory declines modestly as we age. We have perspective memory, is about events or actions taking place in the future. It requires recalling that something needs to happen at a future time or under some future condition, and also remembering specifically what needs to be done. So an example of perspective memory is, for example, I need to drink my medicine at 4 p.m. That's perspective memory. Semantic memory is just simply understanding or recalling meaning. Semantic memory also contributes to the broaden of knowledge and information within us. Episodic memory is, for example, it declines modestly as we age because it is integrated with our neurons. So, as the neurons in our brain, according to the book, as the neurons in our brain decreases, our episodic memory as well decreases. Ito yung mga events that needs to have proper encoding na nakakalimutan natin because yun nga, hindi siya na-store ng maayos or hindi siya na-encode ng maayos. Hanggang short-term memory lang siya, hindi siya umabot ng long-term memory. Memory is used to recall and evaluate certain life events that may preoccupy one's attention until the role of these events can be integrated into a meaningful sense of one's purpose. In conclusion, memory is very important in establishing our intellectual vigor because it allows us to put meaning and to have purpose in life. Solving loosely defined problems. In adult life, most problems involve multiple dimensions with changing or poorly defined variables and more than one solutions. So there are many problems that cannot be solved just by using logical reasoning. So researchers have formulated a view of post-formal thought, which can be characterized in the following ways. One, a greater on reflection oneself, emotions, values, and specific situations in addressing a problem, a willingness to shift gears or take a different approach depending on the specific problems, an ability to draw one personal knowledge to find pragmatic solutions, an awareness of the contradictions of life, and a willingness to try to include conflicting or contradicting thoughts, emotions, and experiences in finding a solutions, a flexible integrations of cognition and emotion so that solutions are adaptive, reality-oriented, and emotionally satisfying. An enthusiasm for seeking new questions, finding new problems, and new frameworks for understanding experiences. Patterns of changing different mental abilities. There have been a growing interest in assessing the extent of cognitive plasticity in later life. There's a question: how readily can older adults improve their skills or learn new skills? There are two possible answers to that question. One, researchers have found that DNA damage in the human brain reduces the capacity for repair beginning at age 40. This damage has negative consequences for synaptic plasticity, leading to decline in learning and memory. Number two is that training and practice improves or has the possibility of improving performance and skills in later adulthood. One possible way to reconcile these opposing observations is to consider how different types of mental abilities might change with age. Cognitive functioning involves the coordination of a variety of mental abilities that's changed as a result of experience and aging. John Horn proposed that the course of mental abilities across the lifespan is not uniform. Some are strengthened and some decline. Horn suggests that differentiating crystallized intelligence, the ability to bring knowledge accumulated through past learning into play in appropriate situations, and fluid intelligence, it is the ability to impose organizations and information and generate new hypotheses. Both are required to achieve optimal human functioning and intellectual vigor. To further explain, crystallized intelligence increases as we age. It is the consequences of experiences within a society. The accumulation and improvement of knowledge by the socialization with family, work, media, and everything that could contribute to our knowledge. Fluid intelligence naman, on the other hand, is simply characterized by having common sense. Lastly, the interaction of heredity and environment on mental functioning. Genetic factors, early childhood family environment, and contemporary work and family involvement all contribute to adult cognitive functioning. Heredity factors related to health also impact cognitive functioning. Evidence also supports the increasing role of the environment on cognitive functioning in later life. Cognitive functioning in later adulthood is multidimensional, with substantial differences among individuals as well as differences among cognitive domains within the same person. And that ends my reporting. Let's move on to the second reporter. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I am Jenny Acosta, and the topic we'll be talking about is redirecting energy to new roles and activities. Grandparenthood. Being a grandparent or ang pagiging lolo at lola ay hindi lang tungkol sa pagtanda. It's a chance for personal growth and stronger connections. Para sa mga lolo at lola as grandparents and as grandparent couple, they become better at working together and supportive sila sa isa't isa. Itong mga experience na ito ay nakakatulong sa kanila para mag-grow in different ways. Grandparenting styles. Ito yung mga paraan kung paano sila makitungo or ang style nila as grandparents sa kanilang mga apo. The following 5 grandparenting styles were identified, and each expressing a distinct interpretation of the role. Formal. Ito yung mga grandparents na na-enjoy nilang kasama ang kanilang mga grandchildren pero ayaw nilang ma-involve sa pagpapalaki sa mga bata. Second is the fun seeker. This kind of grandparent likes to have fun and enjoyable moments sa kanilang mga grandchildren. Halimbawa, they like playing games, telling jokes, or maggala-gala sila sa park. Third is the surrogate parent. Ito yung mga grandparent na nag-aalaga sa atin, lalo na kapag may mga work ang ating parents. Sila muna yung nag-take ng responsibilities like pagpapakain, pinapaliguan tayo, and other aspects of daily care. Fourth is the reserva of family wisdom. Dito, usually lolo ang parang leader na nagsishare ng skills and knowledge sa kanyang anak at apo para i-guide sila kung ano ang dapat gawin. And lastly, distant figure. Ito yung mga grandparents natin na nakikita lang natin sa mga special occasions like birthdays or holidays and wala tayong day-to-day interactions sa kanila regularly. Next is we have the LSOG identified 5 aspects of intergenerational solidarity. So, intergenerational solidarity means kung gaano ka-close and committed ang family members, like between parents and children, and between grandparents and grandchildren. So first is the affectional solidarity. Ito yung mga grandparents na sinushow talaga nila yung love and warmth sa kanilang mga grandchildren para magkaroon sila ng strong emotional connections. Second is the associational solidarity. Dito, nagkakaroon ng regular phone calls, visits, or family get-togethers. Nagsispend time sila together and they stay in touch a lot. Third is the consensual solidarity. This is when family members agree on things like beliefs or expectations. Nagsishare sila ng similar beliefs about education or family celebrations. Fourth is the functional solidarity. Ito yung mga grandparents na hinihelp nila at sinusuportahan nila ang kanilang mga anak, lalo na during tough times. And lastly, the structural solidarity. Ito yung mga grandparents na nakatira malapit lang sa kanilang mga pamilya para madali lang sila makareach sa isa't isa. So this type of solidarity cover different aspects of family connections, including feelings, how often they interact, agreeing on things, supporting each other, and how close they are in terms of location. Based on these measured dimensions, 5 intergenerational types were identified, which closely resemble the grandparenting roles. First is the tight-knit families. These families are very close, spend a lot of time together, and help each other. Second is the sociable families. These families are emotionally close and they talk minsan. They like being together but may not be deeply involved in each other's daily lives. Third is the intimate but distant families. These families that feel emotionally close and agree on things pero hindi sila gaanong nagkikita kasi malayo sila sa isa't isa. Fourth is the obligatory families. Ito yung mga families na nakatira malapit lang and nagkikita minsan pero hindi sila emotionally close. Yung interactions nila is parang hindi ganun ka-genuine kasi they feel that they have to, not because they want to. And lastly is the detached family. From the word detached, ito yung mga families na hindi masyadong nag-i-interact sa isa't isa and they don't help each other that much. Next is the meaning of the grandparent role. So, being a hands-on grandparent makes people think about how they were parents before, which might help them feel good and satisfied about their life and relationship. Pinipili ng mga grandparents ang iba't ibang way sa pagtuturo or pag-guide sa kanilang grandchildren, shaping their ideas and imaginations. So, meron tayong mga grandparents na hindi natin masyadong close, and meron din namang close natin kasi lumaki tayo sa kanila or nakasama natin sila where they create intimate moments through activities like storytelling, special trips, long walks, attending religious services, and working on special projects. Yung ibang grandparents naman is malalambing, kaya nagiging close sila sa mga grandchildren nila. Meron tayong mga grandparents na nagsishare ng mga important experiences nila and values para magkaroon tayo ng knowledge para kung paano maging mabuti ang buhay natin. Grandparent caregivers. Grandparents also play a key role when their young, unmarried daughters become pregnant. So, ganun naman talaga ang nangyayari. Na kapag may nangyayaring masama or nabuntis ang kanilang anak is parang sila yung nagsisilbing gabay sa kanilang anak kung anong dapat gawin. Tinutulungan and sinusuportahan nila ang kanilang anak. Next is maternal employment is another reason. Like kapag may trabaho ang kanilang mga anak, sila muna yung nag-aalaga sa kanilang grandchildren. Grandparent caregivers may feel that they have less energy and they are less effective when it comes to discipline strategies. Pero depende pa rin naman sa kanilang age and health. May mga grandparents din na kayang disiplinahin ng tama ang kanilang mga grandchildren. Loss of grandparent-grandchild contact. Grandparent lost contact with their children due to factors like parental divorce or conflict between parents. Widowhood. Ang mga grandparents, kapag pumanaw ang kanilang mga partner is nakakaramdam sila ng matinding kalungkutan. Namimiss din nila yung mga nakukuhang support and tulong nila sa kanilang mga partner. Widows. Widows are women whose husbands have passed away. So, they have to learn to be social and mamuhay lang sa kanila lang kahit na wala ng presence ng kanilang husband sa tabi nila. Widowers. Ang term naman para sa mga men whose wife has passed away is widower, and they often feel depressed than widows. Leisure activities. When someone becomes a widow or widower, may mga changes na rin sa kanilang pamumuhay. Like, mawala ng interest sa kanilang mga hobbies or activities. So, para makabalik sila sa dati, dapat sila mag-try ulit, like doing new and different activities na nagawa nila dati for them to feel better and find joy in different things. Sa pamamagitan nito ay makabangon ulit sila and makahanap ng purpose sa kanilang buhay kahit na nawalan sila ng partner. Gardening. There is a growing awareness of health and therapeutic value of gardening. By working in the garden, it helps older adults to stay healthy because gardening provides regular physical activities, including stretching, coordination, and weight resistance. And nag-i-improve ang kanilang katawan sa pamamagitan ng digging, planting, and weeding. Volunteerism. Para sa mga older adults, mahalaga sa kanilang pag-volunteer because it gives them a sense of purpose, helps them make friends, and keeps them physically active. Exercise. Napaka-importante para sa mga older adults ang mag-exercise para mapanatiling malusog ang kanilang mga katawan, para makagalaw-galaw sila ng maayos, and napapanatiling matibay nito ang kanilang mga buto. Developing a point of view about death. When people grow older during later adulthood, their friends and family, including siblings and spouses, may pass away. And syempre, nagkukos ito ng emotional stress sa kanila and it's hard for them to accept or to understand why deaths happen. During later adulthood, ego concerns about death decrease. Kasi, during later adulthood, hindi na sila gaano nag-worry about death. Like, tanggap na nila kung anong mangyari. And they begin to view death as a natural part of life's journey. Death anxiety. Natural and common naman sa atin ang may fear about death or personal death. And may iba't iba tayong rason kung bakit. Like, we're afraid of what will happen during and after death. Although older adults seem to think about death more frequently than do young adults, they do not appear to feel more threatened by it. Kahit na madalas iniisip ng mga older adults ang kanilang death, hindi na sila gaano takot kung ano man ang mangyari. Kasi they feel na matanda naman na sila. Marami na silang na-fulfill na mga bagay-bagay and they see death as natural part of life. And that's all. Thank you.
So, let's talk about the psychosocial crisis in later adulthood, which is integrity versus despair. So, let's talk about what is integrity. Ang integrity daw ay abilidad ng isang taong may edad 60 to 75 years old na kaya nang harapin ang katotohanan or kahihinatnan ng kanyang buhay at kaya nang harapin ang kamatayan na walang takot. Ito din ay kung paano nila matanggap ang mga ginawa nila in the past stages with their current situation and how they feel contented about the outcome. The conflict between integrity versus despair can truly achieve through the dynamic process of life review, introspection, and self-evaluation. The factors that can affect this is their health, family relationships, and rule loss or transitions. So, what is sense of coherence or sense of connection? Ito ay kung saan ang isang tao ay naghangad ng koneksyon sa kanyang buhay na hindi pinag-uusapan ang pagkakamali niya or binabalikan ang pagkakamali niya during the past stages. So, let's talk about now despair. So, despair is the negative pole of integrity or the completely loss or absence of hope. So, it is more likely to resolve integrity versus despair in a negative direction rather than infant will resolve trust versus mistrust. Kasi sabi, ang infants ay nagre-rely sa caregiver which ang caregiver naman ang primarily provider ng infants and they can sustain their needs and infants can count on them. But in later adulthood, they rely on their own self-image, past conflicts, disappointments, along with their achievements in life. So, dito naman papasok yung death of dreams. Ito naman ay mga pangarap nila sa kanilang sarili at sa kanilang anak na hindi nila nagawa or hindi nila nakamit during their past stages. So, what is depression? You all know what is the meaning of depression already, but Paano nga ba napapasok ang depression in this stage? You can read it sa PPT. So, it is said na ang mga taong may clear sense of coherence or connection are less likely to have chronic illness rather than people na naniniwala na ang kanilang buhay is full of chaos and out of their control because ang mga taong may clear sense of coherence, they view life as manageable and meaningful. The central process in later adulthood, which is the introspection. It is the personal reflection and self-evaluation. One mode for engaging self-evaluation is through reminiscence. Ito yung pagbalik ka na or pag-alaala sa mga past experiences mo during the past stages. There are two effective coping strategies that have been linked to mental health in later adulthood, which are the assimilative coping and accommodative coping. You can read the definition above and I will only give examples. Ang halimbawa sa assimilative coping, if nagtatrabaho ka pa rin at the age of 60 to 75 at sinabihan ka ng boss mo na, mabagal ka na kasi matanda ka na. So, despite sa sinabi niya, you continue to work at his company at pinakita mo na even though at that age is mabilis ka pa rin kumilos, nagpersigid ka at pinakita mo na kaya mo pa rin magtrabaho at that age. So, even though challenging siya, you stay at his company. So, ang example naman ng accommodative coping is if engaged ka during your adolescence year sa track and field, then due to the age problem, nahirapan ka nang tumakbo ng malayo or ganun ka bilis. So, you find a way or alternative para maka-engage ka pa rin sa ganong kind of routine. So, you try to find alternative which is the treadmill. The prime adaptive ego quality in this stage is wisdom. I know naman na alam niyo na din ang meaning ng wisdom, but according to the book, wisdom has been characterized by 5 features. It is the factual knowledge, procedural knowledge, lifespan contextualism, relativism of values and life goals, and the recognition and management of uncertainty. Sa factual knowledge, it is knowing about the basic facts about life, typical life events that happen at different ages, and the awareness of both unexpected and expected life development. Ang halimbawa nito is most of us know na at the age 5, nagsastart na mag-aral or pumasok ang isang bata sa paaralan. Procedural knowledge naman, ito yung connecting the experiences from the past, dealing it with the present, and planning it for the future. Ang halimbawa nito kapag sa problema, if na-encounter mo na yung problem in the past, you know how to deal with it in the present na. And if ever naman mangyari ulit yun sa future, you know how to plan it for the better outcome and you know how to solve it without hassle na. Sa lifespan contextualism naman, it is looking at the problem while considering the various factors like age, culture, rules, and historical context. Ang halimbawa nito when facing a career decision. When thinking about job, you should not think it as a job itself. You need to consider the age, role, cultural background, and historical context. Sa relativism of values and life goals, dito naman is we understand and respect that people and society have different priorities and values. Halimbawa, may nagtanong sa iyo ng direksyon. In Filipino culture, it is normal to use pointing fingers kapag magturo ng direksyon. But in Japan culture, it is considered to be rude. Kailangan gamitin ang buong kamay para magturo ng direksyon. In recognition and management of uncertainty naman, ito ay we understand that we don't have control at the future and we don't know about the past and present. So dito, we are able to adapt or handle unknown problems. Halimbawa nito, when planning a trip, hindi naman natin kontrolado ang traffic at ang weather. But in this type of knowledge, we know how to deal with it, adapt it, and overcome the problem. The core pathology in this stage is disdain. Ito ay pagmamaliit ng isang tao sa isang ideya o sa kapwa niya. It is accompanied by the negative attitude of arrogance. They believe that their opinions or ideas are better than others. So, applied topic is the retirement. So, maraming definition ang binigay dito, but ito ay kung saan ang isang individual ay nagtatrabaho na siya lesser than the full time throughout the year. Ito ay dahil sa nakakatanggap na siya ng pension, which is yung naipon niya during his or her working stage. Ito naman ay kung saan ang isang tao ay nakakatanggap ng social security or pension kahit na hindi na siya nagtatrabaho. However, retirement can be a psychosocial transition involving role loss or role gain. So dito, nagkakaroon sila ng new rules, new opportunity, and new choices of satisfaction in life. So, dito makikita sa table na in the year 1988 to 1998, you can see it is quite steady ang labor force ng men and women. Then, during the year 2008, medyo tumaas ng bahagya ang workforce ng mga babae. So, in the year 2018 na, 1/3 of the men and 30% of the female ay nagtatrabaho pa rin in the age 60 to 75 years old. So, income loss. Ito daw ang annual income ng older householders na nagdederive sa limang primary factors, which is the social security, earnings, their pension, supplemental social security income. Nancy Scott Birch characterized 7 paths through retirement. First, continuers. They maintain their former identity but in a modified way. So, pwede silang magturo in young professionals. Pwede silang magsulat ng libro and pwede silang magtayo ng business na related sa past work nila. Second are the adventurers. Sila naman yung gustong sumubok ng bagong bagay. Katulad na lang pwede silang mag-travel around the world. Third are the easy gliders. Sila yung medyo walang iniisip, lumalayo sila sa stress. Or they might spend their time with their hobbies, their families, or to feel relaxed. Fourth naman ay involved spectators. They remain psychologically connected with their past professions. They can attend seminars or discuss topics or engage with lectures. Next naman are the searchers. Sila naman yung naghahanap ng new activities or interests that can give meaning and fulfill their niche. Sila naman yung naghahanap ng new activities involved in different activities that can have cause or make cause. Next naman are the retreaters. Sila naman yung nag-iisip muna bago gawin ang isang bagay or ang isang activity. And lastly, the disengaged. Sila naman yung mga taong nakaka-feel ng depression or they struggle to find the sense of purpose or direction. So, the benefits of retirement is when they can get rid of the stress that associated with their workplace. They thought leaving their job would make their life more relaxed. So, the difficulties in retirement naman is when a person is afraid to face retirements because they might face issues like money, health, or the death of their spouse. So, it can affect to their overall satisfaction with life. So, what is retirement anxiety? It is when people feel uneasy or worried if they think or get ready of retirement because they depend on their job as their social settings. So, two factors that can affect or can contribute to the retirement anxiety. First, losing of social and connection. So, they might feel lonely or the potential of loss of friendship na nabuild nila within their workplace. Second naman is, they feel uneasy for having or forming a new relationships, because it might link to the difficulties of life challenges, uncertainty, and the sense of losing of their identity. Retirements per couple. So, either dito, ang isang couple na ay magtrabaho and ang isa naman ang mag-retire na. And they can retire at the same time or they can retire on their primary work then start their secondary work. So, retirement per couple can affect their marital satisfaction because it can affect their work status in their relationships. So that's all. Thank you for listening, and I am your last reporter in this chapter. Thank you. Bye bye.